Hey guys, it's Jess and I am back with my first in a long while card video. I have been doing more and more lives recently and I have not been doing as many of my pre-recorded and edited card videos. So I wanted to kind of get back in the groove of things. That's going to be one of my resolutions for 2019 is to get back on track and make more pre-recorded videos for those of you who can't or don't like to watch live videos. I don't want to only do one thing, I like to do kind of a wide variety and make sure I have a little something for everyone. So hopefully this is a happy thing for you. To get started with my card today, I inked up a stamp from Brutus Monroe called Conservatory of Quotes. I really like this floral image, and it's a pretty versatile image. You can use just little bits and pieces of it, or you can use the whole thing. I did go ahead and use the whole thing for my card. But it's really up to you. It's a nice size for a card, even if you cut down the card panel like I do in this video. It works out really well. So I'm using my Raven detail ink from Brutus Monroe in my mini Misty to get a good stamped impression. I did stamp it a few times just because I had a couple of areas that weren't quite as crisp and dark as I would like. The beauty of the Misty is that I can get it in the exact same place. And I did a whole bunch of copic coloring. So I sped this up a ton so that you guys wouldn't have to sit and watch me color for 8 trillion years. However, I did discover after the fact that when I show you the marker selections, it does not it's sped up too much for you to be able to tell what the marker colors are. So I am really sorry about that. I was trying to do a nice thing, but it just didn't work out the way that I had planned. So I will try to figure that out in another video. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm doing a whole lot of coloring here. It's going to take a little bit of time. So I'm just going to put on a little bit of music and let you guys watch the coloring come together for this. Okay, so we are back. The coloring is done, and now we are going to go to town with some aqua pigments. This is going to be a little bit of a lengthy process as well, although it is sped up a little bit. Most of this video is sped up just because apparently I'm a really slow crafter, and I didn't want you guys to be here all day. So what I'm doing is just taking a clean water brush filled with water. The ones that I have right here are the Jane Davenport brushes. I think I picked them up at my local Michael's store, but you can get them on the Brutus Monroe website. Not the same brand, but water brushes that work really well on the Brutus Monroe website, and pretty much anywhere has aqua brushes, or whatever these are called. I don't know if they're called aqua brushes. That's what I call them. I don't know. Anyway, it's got water in the barrel and you can squeeze it and it comes out. Watercolor brush maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, there's water in there. You can squeeze the barrel, water comes out, and you can kind of paint things on a little bit easier than using a container of water. So that's what I'm doing here, and I am just adding some color around the outside. Now, this process really did kind of take a lot longer than I wanted it to, and when I added my second color later, I honestly wasn't super happy with the distinction between the colors. Here in the live, or in the playback at least, you can't really tell very much that there is a difference in the color, but in person you can. But it's still not really what I was hoping for, but that's okay. It still turned out all right, and even though it wasn't really what I had originally envisioned, I think it still turned out okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put some music back on for you for a minute while this finishes up, and then I will be back with you for the rest of the card. Okay, so I am finished with the background, and I did go ahead and trim down the card panel. I wanted to use that little frame I made, but it really just didn't work out. And I really didn't like the way that that other card turned out either. So I decided to combine some things, and I literally just pasted the card front I just made on top of another card that I did not like. So yay for using what you have. I did end up going back in with the green aqua pigment and adding just some little flecks for some additional interest and a little bit of added oomph, just because I felt like it was a little plain and it needed something to kind of take it up a notch. So I just added a little bit of that using the same aqua brush, water brush, I don't know, whatever they're called, water brushes, I think. And then just flicked it on or tapped it with my finger and it just came right off. Once things were good and dry, I did go ahead and use my anti-static powder tool. And I am applying some embossing ink from Brutus Monroe to the edges of my cardstock. I'm using a coffee filter to catch my embossing powder, and I am dumping on a good dose of Gilded embossing powder. This is my all-time favorite embossing powder, and I use it on pretty much everything, so you're probably not surprised to see me use it here. But I don't know if you've seen this sort of technique before. I like to use this just to add a little bit of flair to a card that needs something, but I don't want to or don't have the right kind of cardstock or paper to make it work. So what I'm doing is just adding a little bit of gold and shine to the edges of my card by using the embossing powder. You don't need to do any sort of specific pattern. You can tell I'm just randomly putting it on there. All I did was swipe my ink pad across it, and if I wanted to change the pattern a little bit to make it look less of a straight line and a little bit more natural, I just did that with my finger, as you saw a second ago. I did that on a few of the sides just because you can see here it looks a little too thick and straight. I wanted it to look a little more jagged and rough around the edges, just so that it looked more natural and not like a frame, if that makes sense. I didn't want a bunch of straight lines. So anyhow, I'm using the embossing powder pretty generously and applying that to my card base, or card front, I guess I should say. And I'm using my Wagner heat tool to heat that embossing powder up and get it good and melted. I left it on this time because a lot of you guys say that you really like to see the embossing powder melt because it's part of the magic. Usually I do that off camera, but I figured I would go ahead and keep it in this time. Just working on that last side now and getting all of my embossing ink on there, and I will do the same process as the ones before. I didn't have too much trouble with my embossing powder sticking where I didn't want it, aside from just taking off little bits here and there, so that actually worked out pretty good, all things considered. And that right there is why I like using the coffee filters, because you can just fold it like a hot dog and dump it right back into your container. No mess, no fuss, and it's all off of your desk and out of your way. I hit the back of my panel with my heat tool a little bit just to help with the warping, because my paper was pretty wet at one point. And you can see I grabbed that card base that I had previously made. What I had done originally is I got some red cardstock, I matted a white piece on top, and I used a gold gel pen to create faux stitching around the outside. I liked that part, but I didn't like the joy with the little flower that I had stamped on the center, so I just covered it right up with my card panel. And then no card that I make would be complete without a little bit of bling. So I did grab some clear dots or drops from Pretty Pink Posh, sorry, and also some gold sequins that I had on hand in my stash of beautiful shiny things. If you're interested in that container that I store them in, I will have it linked below, along with all the supplies that I've used as best as I can. If you'd like to check out anything that I've used today, it will be linked down below. So just some gold sequins down there, and then, like I said, the clear droplets. I'm using the smaller size from Pretty Pink Posh. They have two sizes. One is a little bit larger, and this one is called medium, but it's the smaller of the two sizes. They don't have three sizes, I don't believe, but it's called large and medium. So maybe they had a smaller size before. I'm using my new favorite glue, which is the Gina K Connect glue. I got this in my goodie bag at the anniversary party for Brutus Monroe, and I have been in love. I will definitely be ordering more of it. I really like the tube feel, or like it's sort of like a pen. I don't know. It's just really easy to hold. I don't have to squeeze it the same way as I do other bottles, and it already has a fairly fine tip applicator on it, so I didn't have to put anything special on the glue either. I really, really like it, and it holds really well. So that finished off my card. I had one little guy fall off that I hadn't glued on, so I just attached that back. But that was it. The card was pretty simple, all things considered. But here you can take a look at how the card turned out on social media. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you loved it. Be sure to find me on Instagram under A Card Day's Work, or on Facebook under Jess Francisco Official. I do have a new Facebook page that you can check out. There are some more videos linked here for inspiration. As always, give it a big thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys super soon in another video. Hugs and love. Talk to you later. Bye.